Sibanye Zim DevConf 2023, and I am super excited that this day is finally here. So we have a lineup of incredible speakers. So many topics are going to be discussed today, and I can't wait for all of you guys to see. All of our speakers are going to be online as well. So when each speaker is speaking, you guys can comment in the comment section, and they will be readily available to answer all your questions.
Right. Hi, everybody. My name is Chakama, full stack developer and co-founder of Zim Developers. I just want to say, welcome, guys. I'm really out of words, like of how the community's grown over the past years, and where we are going. Like just thinking of it, gives you like those goosebumps because the community has really grown from what we expected. I mean, right now the Telegram channel is over 700 people, and it's still growing. And I still remember when when I was talking to Audrey about I think 3-4 years back about starting this community, and we didn't even think that we're gonna reach these numbers and we're gonna do all these events that we're doing. Guys, God is wonderful, man. I won't lie. I mean, the community is still growing. We didn't give up on it. Because I won't lie, guys. This was hard. Starting this was hard. But then you guys came through supporting us and, even encouraging other developers to join the community. And that was amazing. And that's why I keep on saying every time that what makes the community is you guys. The community is for everyone. It's for you. It's for us. And as much as we have a leadership in our community to say, for things to be done, let's try to communicate like this. But the community is yours, guys. If you have any suggestions, additions, or anything that you want, pass them through, man, because it will build the community, right? And we've got a lot planned for you guys. I won't lie. From more meetups, because a lot of you have expressed concern over Bulawayo meetups in other cities, Mutare, Gweru. Don't worry, we've got all that planned. And also like some courses that we're gonna be giving away to communities in Zimbabwe, be it for Flutter, React, and stuff like that. We've got a lot that's planned out. We will start rolling them out bit by bit. But I'm really grateful for the amount of members that have joined us and where we are going as a community. Makes me happy to know that everyone is really interested in this, and we've had some great testimonials coming from the community, from people securing jobs, people networking, building projects together, and it makes me happy to see Zimbabwean developers like uploading projects to say that I built this, because now we have a more central area where we can see who's building what, who's doing what, and who's working where, right? And it's easy now to see like and measure the growth of our community. So I'm really grateful, guys, that you guys are part of our community. You're part of the movement. We all want to see Zimbabwean developers do the most out there. And yeah, I mean, thank you. Thank you so much. And I just want to thank my co-founder, Chanakira, for pushing forward this dev fest that we have at the moment, the online meetup, Sibanye. Guys, she's been doing the most. She's been working overtime for this to be a success, because I'm not around. I've been doing some traveling. I'm tired, I don't lie. Yo, it's been hectic from my side, but then she's been holding the community. I'm gonna get you flowers, by the way. But anyways, thanks so much for your hard work, and also thanks to everyone who's followed our pages, who's shared around the community, who's contributed to the community growth. You guys are amazing. May the Lord bless you, or whoever blesses you, bless you. I'm really grateful, and I look forward to seeing you on our next meetup that we likely gonna be doing on site. And yeah, let's make this happen, guys. Let's keep pushing forward our community, everyone, so that they see that Zimbabwean developers are actually doing the most out there. And yeah, with that said, man, Make sure you follow our page. You can follow me on Twitter. It's GT Chakama. Or yeah, just follow me everywhere, GT Chakama. LinkedIn, it's George Chakama. And I'm open to anyone who's looking for mentorship, code reviews, yeah, and stuff like that. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and wish you all the best in life, my guys.
Greetings to you, everyone. Welcome to the Sibanye Zim Dev Conference of 2023, and I'm a speaker, and I'm going to take you through my presentation today. So, my topic is titled Africa's Next Big Thing is Hardware Design, and I'm going to go through with you over my biography. My name is Truswell Nyamakanga. Currently, I'm a junior project manager at AMS Technology Group in Algeria, and I'm a founder of SAI, which is a Strategic Alliance Investment, which is just a group of people that come together and we pool resources and we invest in different projects. I'm also a holder of a master's in embedded systems and a bachelor's in electronics engineering, and I'm a hardware developer. You can see that's my face there, and as you can see me also here. So the outline of this presentation, we're going to cover things to do with the introduction, and on the introduction we're going to cover hardware design and its key elements. We're going also to look at market disruption. We're going to see what exactly is the disruption when it comes to the hardware design environment and the drivers that drive a disruption in the industry. We're also going to see why hardware design is the big thing in Africa, the sectors and the players that are needed in this sector. And also we're going to look at project development cycle. We're going to develop a small project that we're going to work together as a group and see how a project is taken from an idea to be something that you will physically hold in our hands. And lastly, we'll look at the insights. What are the benefits of hardware design? And also the call to action. What are we supposed to do with everything that has been presented today for us to take ourselves further on with terms of hardware? So let's continue as we get into introduction. So let's talk about what we call a printable circuit board, or in other words, a PCB. A PCB is just the circuit board that you see in your electronic gadgets. That board that you see in electronic gadgets. We talked about earphones. The thing that you see in your electronic gadgets, the inside thing that you see, usually it's a greenish like, and some of them they are blue, some of them they are purple. It just depends with what the manufacturer wanted. But before you get a PCB, you start from what is called a schematic. This is what we call a schematic. This is a connection of electronic components like resistors, capacitors, microcontrollers. You join them together for them to make sense. If you can see here, there's something written here, micro USB. So there is a micro USB there. There is the power section there, how the power is connected. There is the reset button there. There is the user button there. There is the microcontroller there. There's another microcontroller there. There is the LEDs there. There is the power LED. So for example, when you put in a charger on your laptop, you always see that there is a light that turns on. That's an LED, a power light that confirms to you that your laptop is charging. So when we are designing this, we have to incorporate that the user needs to know if the laptop is charging or not. These are just normal things. And after creating all this, you get what we call a PCB. That's a PCB now. So in hardware design, we are trying to arrive at this place where we have a functional product or electronic component which we develop from the ground up and we'll be able to put it in the market. We'll put an enclosure, like I've said. An enclosure is anything that is covering this circuit board that we are seeing, this PCB. This is what we call an enclosure. So even for a calculator, for example, this is a calculator. There is a PCB inside, which is the hardware that has been designed to actually work for a calculator. The outside, which we are handling, this plastic, hard plastic, is what we call an enclosure. So let's continue the conversation as we see what's up as we go further. So getting our hands dirty, what is hardware design? This is the stage where an engineer and a team selects various components to develop a functionality and figures out the circuit for each and every block which is required in the product, and also do the BOM cost analysis so that we meet the target and manufacturing cost. BOM just means bill of materials. I know you didn't get that definition. It's a very complex definition, but let me just give you the simplistic definition. Alongside my presentation, you can see there is a lot of components. There is, for those people who know certain components, they are seeing LEDs, they are seeing a controller, they are seeing capacitors and everything. Hardware design is all about developing the circuit board that you see in electronic devices. We'll be making the circuit board that you see in electronic devices. And also, we also develop the firmware that you see that work in electronic devices. So every electronic device has hardware inside of it, and because of that hardware that is operating inside of the component. For example, this is a mouse, and inside of a mouse there is a circuit board that is operating inside of this mouse. So the circuit board which is inside, which we call a PCB, is the one that we design, which is inside of this mouse. We also know AirPods. We know AirPods also. For example, these are AirPods. Inside of the AirPods, the earphones themselves, they have a circuit PCB circuit inside of them that we design, and a chip that is operating inside. That's all to do with hardware design. So the main key elements that are needed for hardware design, because a lot of people will be like, these things might be difficult. You only need these four. Number one, you need electronics basics. You need to know what is a capacitor. You need to know what is a resistor. You need to know voltage is equals to current times resistance. You need to just know the basic stuff like what is a resistor. That knowledge is enough. And then you also need to know platforms that are used to design. There are a lot of platforms, but this is the ones that I can only list. The one which you are talking about, first one, is Altium Designer. It helps you to design PCB platform, PCB. There are many other platforms like KiCad, there is Eagle. A proficiency to know how these platforms work. You're going to realize that most of your design work is just going to be, do you know how to just use these platforms? That's hardware design. And then there is Fusion 360, which comes from AutoCAD, from Autodesk. And sorry about that. It's used for designing what we call the enclosure. For example, looking at my mouse, the outside thing that I'm seeing here is what we call an enclosure. So you need to know how you design an enclosure. For example, the outside of my AirPods is an enclosure. The outside of my charger head adapter is an enclosure. And then you also need to be proficient in research. You need to be a person that reads research. And in hardware design, it's all about reading data sheets and just reading the new technologies that are coming in, because everything that how to use a resistor, how to use a capacitor, how to connect that resistor or that capacitor or that microcontroller, it's all in a data sheet. You are just doing copy and paste. So let's continue the conversation. These are the key elements that you need for you to advance in this field. So let's start the conversation on market disruption, which is refers to any innovation within an industry that actually changes the way stakeholders operate in that industry. The introduction of an iPhone as a smartphone actually changed the wired telephone system, and it has actually gone first out in many countries. The issue about market disruption is that when you have a product that comes into the market, it will totally change the way people actually operate if it's a game changer. And the hardware design is in such that Africa has been a country or a continent as a whole that has been operating in regards to imports. The moment our generation starts to make stuff, it's going to actually change the dynamics of the market. When a personal computer, for example, was introduced, it phased out the computer industry, the typewriting industry. When drones were introduced, drones are now being applied even in delivery of medication. We need to say even the logistic industry is being affected by drones. And worst of the movie industry, they are seeing a radical shift there. Smartwatches actually revolutionized the fitness industry. People used to just run, but now people can run tracking their heartbeat, their glucose level, their oxygen level, just in the sake of a smartwatch. Smartphones also did the same, like an iPhone, the first smartphone. But all these products, what is the intricate thing that joins them all together is the hardware that is inside of them. That's how hardware is important and why Africa should get into hardware design. Because when we start to design our own hardware for our own electronic components and gadgets, for our own solutions, or for our own problems, providing our own solutions, that is a game changer. That is a game changer. So some of the drivers are actually with regards to, let's look at hardware design from this perspective. What is the magnitude of problems that need to be resolved in Africa? What are the barriers that are involved or that were involved limiting the issue of implementation of hardware design? What is some of the demand that is around those products that are made through hardware design? What are the resources that have been made available or that are available to actually foster us to be able to produce on our own? So you realize that there are many problems of Africa that needs to be resolved by Africans because we experience these problems, and we need to design and implement solutions that are African oriented. Because they should be African oriented, that means that hardware design comes in the sense that there are many electronic components that are needed. There are many gadgets that we are using. We now depend on electronic gadgets, and we need to make our own that are tailor-made for our own situation. You see situations in agriculture, we now need hardware designers to make components that can actually be conducive for agricultural sector. So the demand for the products is all, the sky is the limit. Which problem do you want to resolve? Do you want to get into smart homes? Do you want to get into smart agriculture? Do you want to get into the Internet of Things? Do you want to get into the healthcare industry? All these are joined together by hardware. Let's continue the conversation. I get excited when I talk about this thing. I don't like, I get it. So, why hardware design? Why is this a big thing? Because of the coming of Internet of Things. Internet of Things, we need to be able to create our own hardware. Right now, we are facing a situation in the electronic gadgets market that there is quite a limitation in terms of microcontrollers and microprocessors. They are in limited supply. So the moment we start to design our own components in continent, in Africa, that is going to actually bring about a change, because industries that have been making them in China, they will now want to come to Africa because they know that the resources are there and we have the masses to make these things. Healthcare is also another industry. There are a lot of solutions that we can come up with. There are a lot of problems that are in the healthcare industry that needs us with designers to actually make the hardware sufficient to solve those problems. There is artificial intelligence, which is also popping out around the corner there and spooking in, like looking there. Artificial intelligence, yes, it's a software or a framework kind of thing, but it has to work with hardware. So hardware, the artificial intelligence guys, I like them a lot because we can work together. We come on, look at a solution or look at a problem, make up our solution, design a hardware that is user friendly to our software for that artificial intelligence, and we are good to go. There's automation. A lot of automation is happening in homes, smart agriculture, smart industries, smart buildings. All those things we need to make PCBs, and we have to actually design the hardware conducive. There's also the need of collection of data. Right now, data is the most important thing. Any country needs data, and because we need data, if we are to get data of the demographics of our people, the movements of goods, everything, we need to make our own products in reference we need to make our own products in reference to the hardware component. That's how important it is for us to actually have hardware. And then there's the issue of climate change. We need to design solutions that can counteract climate change, solar efficiency, energy efficiency, agriculture efficiency. So this is an example of a photo. That's smart farming, where you have a tractor that is being controlled by a phone. You have sensors that are monitoring the field. You have data that is being collected. You have a robot that is being securing the farm. You have a drone that is going there to spray in the chemicals or to spray in water to water the farm. All these things, you look at all of them, you'd still need a hardware designer to design each and every component. So somebody will say, no, me, I'm going to go into the design of drones. I'll make the hardware that works in drones. Someone will say, no, I want to make the hardware that will work on my solar panels. Someone will say, no, I want to make the hardware that will work on irrigation, hydroponics, smart hydroponics. These are all the ideas that are coming out from there. So the one that controls the platform and the product will control the masses. This is my quote. This is the one who controls the platform and the product will control the masses. Look at Google Store, App Store. They control the platform. So they will then control the masses, because you want to put your product there, it's their platform. Look at a product like, for example, a product like data centers that are coming out. These are products. If you want to be involved in a data center and have your issues, things there, you are controlled as a customer. So there are many things that you can see. As long as you have the platform and a product that you are the controller, you will control the masses. So it's very, very important that we start making products of our own. If you remember, there was a time there was a war between countries with regards to cell phones and so forth and so forth. It's just the issue of platform and product that was at play. So let's continue the conversation, and as we look at other benefits of who should be involved and what are the players that we need to have in this industry, and where you fit in and where you don't fit. So how do you get involved? How to be involved as a player? You can either be a hardware developer, where you are making the hardware, or you can either come in as a firmware developer, where you are making the software that is going to work on the hardware. In terms of firmware, the most important language is C programming, C language. If you are good in that language, you're good to go. And you also can come in as a product design developer, where you are making the aesthetics, the outside, the enclosures. You're good into art and drawing. You can actually design different kind of, for example, types of outside mouses. The most important thing about a mouse is what is working inside. But customers do not buy products per se. They buy how the product looks. They buy the visual that they see when it comes to selling products. That's why you see in phones, people are now all over the place of the issue of cameras. People don't really care about the inside. They care about what is outside. And then you can also come in as an investor. There is need of investors who can come in and say, okay guys, you are making a very good product, and I want to fund you for this product to go forward. You can also come in as a customer. That's a no-brainer. Someone who is buying the product and also telling friends and relatives that this is a good product. You can also come in for education, like what I'm doing right now, sharing information. Make the gospel to go every part of the world and every corner of the continent. Besides, there is a photo of a speaker design. That's just a design that was being done for a customer and a client who wanted to have a Bluetooth speaker with also sound, with also a sound speaker where a voice recorder where you can also speak to his speaker, more like the Alexas and Google Hubs. That's what the customer wanted. So that was one of the design, in terms of design. But let's move forward to the next thing, which is very burning, the project. Let's talk about project. How do you actually develop a product? For example, that kind of product like this one, how do you go through? You go through a series of 6 phases. The first one is ideation phase. The second is planning and strategy. The third is design. The fourth one is engineering. The fifth one is validation and manufacturing. And the last one is sales and customer support. So you have to first understand the problem that you want to solve. So a client or you yourself, you discover a problem. You need to list what exactly is the problem. And then what are the possible solutions that you can come up with for that problem. So that's when you start to do planning and strategy. And then you design a proof of concept. A proof of concept is not the product. Sometimes you can just be a simulation or just a design like the one that is here of a speaker here. And then you're saying, this is the speaker that I'm thinking of making. I think this thing can work. Or you can even just be at a paper. You write a proof of concept, this and this and this and this and this and this. And then it goes through the engineering side, the prototype side, until you come out with what we call an engineering prototype. This is where that prototype is to go under testing, validation, evaluation, and then at the end, it goes for mass production after all the tests have been done. And lastly but not least, you start sales and customer support. That's where the business starts. They might seem to be long processes when you look at them, but if you have a team you're working with, and the other team is doing the framework, the other team is doing the hardware, the other team is doing the product designs, the aesthetics, you'll be able to go through this whole process in an ample time. So this is the whole thing about how you develop a product. So for example, if a customer comes to you, for example, a client or you yourself, let's say you want to design earphones. First question I would ask you, you want to design earphones? You're like, yeah. Why? You're like, I just want better earphones. I want my earphones to be Bluetooth. So, okay, Bluetooth. So I write down. So already by knowing what you want, I can ask you all the things that you want to be included on your earphone. How big do you want it to be in terms of like the size of the AirPod, the earpod? How is it supposed to be big in terms of your ears? How do you want to be big? The sound, the quality of sound that you want, the how big of the sound, what is the lowest that you want, what is the highest, the battery amount that you want it to go, how many hours do you want to fully use this one until it is depleted. We get all that information, and then we go and now look for the particular kind of battery that facilitates that, microcontroller that facilitates that, even the color also that you want, and we design the product for you. And in an Apple time, you have a product in your hands and you're listening to music. It's as simple as that. So the benefits of hardware development. The benefits of hardware development. You know, the word development is a good word, which means development. Hardware development involves the design of hardware, which is hardware design, and also the framework development or design also. And if we then make a full product, we now add product designs, as in the aesthetics, the enclosures. One of the benefits is a reduction in unemployment in the community and in the continent. The other one is opening of fourth industrial revolution industries. These include artificial intelligence, robotics for the African market. So because we are pushing for industrialization and we are pushing for automation, the moment we start to be able to make our own controllers for every electronic gadget and even for the manufacturing industry, we actually foster this movement and actually work on the unemployment. It's also a preparation of the African child on the relevant skills for the future, which is now. I always believe that the future is not tomorrow, is not 10 years from now, it's not 50 years from now. The future is now. You have to know that now you have to do the required decisions for the expectation you are expecting. So these are skills that are important for us to learn and master, because there's going to come things about 3D printing, it's becoming an in thing where you can actually make your stuff in your home and actually start using them. Solving our problems using our own technology is another benefit. We'll actually look at African problems and actually start solving these African problems using our own solutions. We realize that in many countries in Africa, there is an issue of lack of traffic lights. If we start designing our own traffic lights, our teams, our startups are making traffic lights, who knows? We would actually have a big industry in the traffic light system. That was just an idea dropping it there. If you don't catch it, probably I'll run with it in the coming few months. Safeguarding our data. Data, like I said, data is now a treasure. Data is now a treasure. So if data is now a treasure, we need to be able to safeguard our own African data so that we'll be also able to make our own analysis on our data. Because data is now becoming an in thing in every country, where who owns the data, who should have the data, and this is something that is going to come our way very soon. So we need also to decide our own in terms of our data. So with that being said and done, the call to action of this whole conversation, what is the call to action? The first thing is we should start sharing resources in terms of knowledge and investment opportunities. You find out that Truswell has the knowledge, but he doesn't want to give others. And you find out that certain person, the sister, has investment opportunities, but that she doesn't want to share with others. So we need to start sharing resources. And I'm one person who can tell you that I'm ready whenever you hit up on me and say, hi, what's up? Can we do something? There's also a need of collaboration. We need to start to collaborate between the players which involve the firmware developers and the hardware developers and the product design developers. We need to come together as a group, come with an idea, come with a problem that we want to solve and the solution. We work together, we solve that particular problem. The other thing is education of the field by starting schools or innovation hubs. Countries like Egypt and Nigeria have actually started innovation hubs where people are being taught hardware design. And it's becoming so powerful that they are producing a lot of products, because they've actually seen or spied on countries like China and India, and saw that this is the way they developed. They went into hardware design, and that's how the economies became big and started blooming. So because of that, education in terms of coming together, I'm one person, I'm available for anything, for sharing of information. Mentorship is important. I'm a product of mentorship. I believe in mentorship. You can never reach certain levels in life without mentorship. There's a certain level of knowledge that you can never access without mentorship. And I believe that if a person who wants to get into hardware design, a month is enough for you to understand the basics of what hardware design is. But you need 5 months maximum with a mentor who is holding you by the hand, telling you this and this, helping you on which ropes to actually hold on. And to me, it was beneficial. I'm happy I actually subscribed to the same notion, and it has changed my life. Also, the issue of unity in building startups. We need to be unified as a group. We need to come as a united front. As developers, such initiatives like Sibanye create a voice where we can speak and say, let's unify, let us come together, let us be one team and advocate for one thing. So the thing that comes is advocacy for startups that make products. There should be advocacy for startups that are making products in terms of getting investment, in terms of making sure that they have the required knowledge for them to actually push, in terms of certification, in terms of let this information be made available. So, we need to be a unified front for us to actually go and push for investment. I'm happy for the Sibanye and Zimbabwe Zim Dev conference. I believe this is the start of something big that we can actually start to use as a force and as a voice to speak to the parties and to the powers they be, that we are startups, we are organized, we are ready, we are geared up, we have skills, we are ready, we want to collaborate, we want innovation hubs to bloom, we want to work together. These are the problems we want to tackle, and these are our solutions. What we need is support in terms of investment, in terms of knowledge, and in terms of organization and clear policies of government or private sector. Let them be clear, let them be made available. Let there be seminars where we are given information, we are geared up, because we are the future, which is now. So without further ado, I would like to say that you can get in touch with me on WhatsApp, that's my number. You can get in touch with me on email, that's my email. You can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, that's my name, Truswell Nyamakanga. We can talk, we can discuss, we can collaborate, we can argue. The most important thing is we should be able to build. That's the thing that I would like to say. We should be able to build. After all is said and done, let us make a product. Let us get into the market. Let hardware design be something that is implemented. Hardware design is the future of Africa, and hardware design is the great thing in Africa. We need to start to make African solutions for African problems, and our problems need us as hardware designers to collaborate, and need us to bring more hardware designers, because the sea and the ocean is big for one person. And with that, I would like to say thank you for this opportunity, Sibanye Zim Dev Developers. Bye-bye.
Sibanye Zim Developers Conference 2023. My name is Josephine Chinake, and I'm happy to be here to share the little that I have and probably help to get somebody elevated and impacted to do a difference in their everyday world. So a bit about myself. As a way of introduction, I am Josephine Chinake, and by day I'm the product manager for a prestigious company that's called eSolutions, one of the biggest tech companies in Zimbabwe, where we provide solutions for the biggest companies and other people in the field as well. So a brief background about myself. I'm an entrepreneur, and I also have my side hustle, as popularly people know it. It's called Template Technologies, where we also offer software services to and build systems for people who are in use of that. So as a pastime, I'm passionate about empowering women, the youth, and working with them very closely. This came about that we and the co-founder, her name is Shingi Modinuta, we came about and created a community called Girls in Tech Zimbabwe, which I'm going to be introducing to you today and talk to you about a bit later. So what is the problem? Why am I here? Why am I presenting to you right now? The problem that's there, I saw that in the tech industry, representation for women is a staggering 28% for the women that are in the industry world over. This is concerning. Why? Opportunities are there, but then the ladies are actually afraid of taking part in it. Maybe the other reason is there are no opportunities that are availed to the ladies. But what I'm here to talk about is for you and me to give an equal chance to these ladies to speak up, to step up and join communities so that their voices are heard. Of the 28% of the women that are there, we have created a safe haven, a community for the girls in tech to come and speak at a forum level where we can share. And how are we doing this? We have a community that we have set up, and that's there already. And not only is it the tech industry, STEM overall, the representation of women is a staggering 29%, and that is very, very concerning. And why is that? It's because there's a huge disparity in gender gaps, which is why I'm here, which is what prompted me to build this community that I'm going to be introducing to you in a while. We have to reduce the gender gap, and this is done by me and you. And how do we do this? This is done through mentorship, which we offer at Girls Intake Zimbabwe. So how we do this, we've got mentorship sessions that we have. This is done by professionals in the field, no matter which field you are, but as long as it is in tech, they are ladies from as young as 12 years of age that you will be leading and that you'll be talking to and that you'll be engaging to. And this is not only limited to the ladies. Let me say this now, and I'll repeatedly keep saying this. It's not limited to the women. It's also open to the men. And as we all know, tech is not a boys' club. We are here to debunk that notion that it's a boys' club. It's not a boys' club. And also Girls Intake Zimbabwe also works with men in each and every day of its programming. And if you want to join, you are welcome. And please tell your sisters to come join us. And also give the word out there that there's a community for women to be speaking. I'll give an example. There was a tweet that was flighted, I think some 3 months ago in one of the platforms. It's very popular, but I'm not going to name it by name. There was a discussion that some gentlemen were actually talking about. One of them said, "Do you know that I've never seen one Java proficient programmer who is a girl who's actually able to do something in Java and produce these things?" And then it came to me as a shock, because everyday life as a product manager, my team, at least half of my team, these are women. These are proficient developers who are certified in Java that are pushing projects every day at a national scale. But then these girls are not doing anything. They're just silent. They're not mentoring anyone. They're not talking about it. And they're just there in their cooking, going about their everyday life. And then that hit me to say, you know what? We need to do something about it. So as Girls Intake Zimbabwe, we've started mentorship cohorts where we help the ladies and mentor them with the professionals in the various fields that are there in the tech. This could be coding, this could be data science, or anything, even cybersecurity. It's not even limited to that. Why are we here? We are here to, number one, to educate and to empower. And if we empower the young girls from the youngest age of 12, which we have in our community, we will nurture and grow with these girls as they pave their way in tech. And then with somebody who's helping them, it will be easy for them. So this is done by men and women who are part of the community, and you are also free and able to join. And I hope you'll be able to join us. And as inspiration, we believe in inspiration so much so that people can see the people that actually walk the talk. We don't believe in people that say, maybe we started a business with one egg. Now I've got 1,000 chickens that are rearing. I'm incubating so many eggs. But we believe that the tech is that in the community, and those that would love to join can also join and be a part of this revolution. So let me tell you a bit about the community members that we have. We are very big on diversity, so we actually do not limit age. So the youngest, these are girls who are 12 years of age, and these are still in high school. And from there, they are university students, the ones that are still in college, and these are not graduated. And then after that, those that have graduated, these are early career professionals that are there in the community. And then we have proper professionals with very, very huge experience and portfolios of the work that they have done. And these are amazing men and women in the community. And we have right now mentorship cohorts, and I would love to mention these big people in the tech industry that are working with the code queens in the community. We have Audrey Chanakira, the co-founder of Zim Developers. In fact, one of the brains behind this conference, Sibanye 2023 Zim DevConf, and she's taken under her wing some of the ladies in the community. And we've got Naval Nyamindu, and he's an upcoming lawyer. He's also a software engineer, and he's he's doing great things, and he's based in South Africa, also Zimbabwean. And we've got Pamela Muzoma of PamTech, and Pam is doing great things, winning awards and inspiring these young ladies. And we've got Primrose Lunda, a very seasoned professional who's got ladies under her wing, and she's done so well in her journey that we have, and we are grateful to have her right now. So these are inspirational people that are doing something in tech, and I'm imploring you right now to join the community. If you don't want to be part of the community per se, perhaps introduce it to your younger sister who would love to partake in the tech journey, or would love to help impact other people, or even help mentor them. And they are very welcome to come through. And I'm going to speak briefly about our partners and the diversity that we're trying to build. So we have managed to build a partnership with Salesforce, the trailblazer community of the Zimbabwean Salesforce. This is led by Jennifer Ndlovu. She's based in Bulawayo, and she's leading the queens in helping them in their Salesforce journey. And this is in terms of a career in Salesforce. This is in terms of mentorship, the tech mentorship that people need. We've got that sorted. We also managed to partner with Propel, and this community is really huge, and it's helping the early career professionals and the professionals in our community to be linked to remote jobs that are availed to Africans by the European market. And we are not only about tech, we also capture and care about the other aspects of life. This could be mental health, and as well as SRHR, which is the sexual reproductive health that we also talk about. So we've also have seasoned partners that are doing great things in the community, which is Zizo Safe Bed that we also work with. So if you have been following, you saw that we've had a couple of meetups, and the last one was a picnic where it was mainly focused on mental health, mental wellness, and SRHR responsibilities, so that people are actually taught about these things. They know their rights, they know what needs to be done, they know what's good and what's wrong. And last but not least, I'll talk about our affiliation to the Computer Society of Zimbabwe, Women in Tech Zimbabwe Society. On the inaugural program of this launch, we were invited and we had a slot to speak, which means that there is something good that they saw in us, and we actually have a vision that is aligned, that is to spread the tech gospel. So I'm imploring you right now to talk to your sisters, for you to join us. You can be a part of us. Please reach out to us on the various social media platforms. This can be Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, or even email. We are readily available, and we are happy to be a part of the Sibanye DevFest conference this year in 2023. I would love to thank the organizers for engaging us to be a part of this. Thank you, Sibanye 2023 Africa.
Welcome to the Sibanye DevFest. We are here at the interview section. Seated with me is the beautiful Ansua, and she is the former Mrs. Namibia, and she's here to tell us about mental health. Ansua, welcome.
Thank you, Audrey. It's wonderful to be here.
Awesome. So Ansua, tell us about yourself. Who is Ansua? And I'm seeing a beautiful crown and what you do, just in brief.
I'm actually from a very small town, and how can I say? I'm a down-to-earth person. I'm a mom. I have 2 kids. I do pageants. I've done quite a few. I am currently working in IT sales, and when I have some free time, I do charity work, volunteering, help where I can.
Okay, no, that's awesome. So you spoke that you do IT, you're into IT, and you're also a beauty pageant. That is interesting, combination, right? So tell us about your journey, how you started this, getting into pageants and all of that. Just tell us briefly and walk us through.
It actually started around about the same time, the IT with the pageants.
Okay, so it was in parallel.
Yeah,
okay.
Same year in 2012.
Okay.
I started doing pageants. I was actually just doing promotions. until I went to South Africa, and it just kind of flowed from there on.
Okay.
I kept being approaching,
Mhm.
and at that time I started working at an IT company,
Okay.
sales as well.
Oh.
So I actually had a lot to learn about IT, technology, many things, and I believe we are still learning every day about technology because it
Yeah.
keeps on developing.
Yeah, awesome. So we are talking about mental health. Tell us what made you, decide to delve into mental health and participating in things that are related to mental health.
Mental health it's very important, especially in our world today. We have many youth. We are all facing many challenges. There's the peer pressure. There's always trying to keep up with the social trends and with everybody as things are developing.
Yeah.
Women are struggling with fashion, and even in IT, I believe.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. So you are into IT, and we are trying to understand, the mental health workspace. So how do you think technology, impacts mental health, or how can technology, enhance or promote mental health issues in terms of addressing mental health issues?
I think technology is actually very good. It should promote, it should be easier, it should complement the traditional mental health, because I believe there's online platforms, there's education, there's online groups that you can join. Technology, I believe, it complements the standard mental health, the traditional mental health.
Yeah. So I personally come from a technical background. I'm into IT. I'm a developer, as you know. So to the developers out there, what advice can you give them in terms of maintaining their mental health? Because mostly, you find out people will always work, and we don't really address our mental health issues. So what advice can you give to technical people that are always coding, or that are always doing some innovative stuff and all of that?
I believe they themselves, or we can create that safe work environment. But we should actually start with ourselves, because sometimes it's okay not to be okay.
Right.
And not just to create that environment, but flexible working time hours, to take a break, to assess. If you actually really do see that you are burning out, you are a bit under stress, to see or to seek out, because you need to talk about it, you need to share it, but you also need to have that confidence that you know that you are in a safe environment and that you can open up about it. And I believe not just women in tech or women, I believe everywhere and everyone should be able to have that safe environment to open up about it, to speak about it, because they usually say you cannot do something about it unless you admit that there is something.
Right.
So
Yeah.
the moment you can admit, then the moment you can address to it.
Okay, awesome. So, wow, that's a lot of information, and thank you so much, for clarifying that. You mentioned a lot of things, and in the beginning you mentioned that you're a mom, you work in IT, and you're also a beauty pageant. How do you manage that work balance, in relation to your mental health as well? Like, what do you do to keep yourself, healthy mentally?
I'm very family oriented.
Okay.
Yeah, I try to manage my time and prioritize my things. I make time for everything. If I see I'm about to burn out, I slow down.
Okay.
I take one step at a time, try to do one thing first before I go to the next one. And I always keep in mind, I do what makes me happy.
Okay.
I do what I love.
All right.
I love my family, I love my work, I love what I do, extra hours. It's like I always say, your mind is like a good tofu. So whatever you put inside it is going to make the tofu good.
Okay.
So whatever you put in yourself is what's going to make it positive.
Wow, those are powerful words. So family first and the rest
Yes.
follows. Yes, so Ansua, any last words that you want to say before we close this?
I thank you for having me. I really appreciate it, and I hope in future I'll be more part of the Sibanye Zim developers.
Definitely.
Yeah. And I would like to tell everyone that not to really give up when you are in a situation or a space that you feel you are alone and you cannot do it. You need to look at yourself and realize that everything that you have done, you yourself, you are very unique.
Wow, those are powerful words. Thank you so much. That was Ansua, and she was telling us about mental health, how we can keep up, in trying to maintain a balanced mental health lifestyle. Thank you so much, guys.
Nature never ceases to amaze. Let's dive into the world where ecology and data science collide, unraveling the mysteries of our planet. My name is Terry Chief. I'm an ecologist, also pursuing a master's in nature conservation. My share with you today is about aspects of ecology that blend in with data science. To give you a basic ecology overview, there is interdependence, there is biodiversity, there is energy flow and nutrient cycling, and there is adaptation and evolution. There are challenges and limitations in ecology. For example, there is data complexity, there is scale, there is need for interdisciplinary collaboration, and there is uncertainty and unpredictabilities, and their emergent properties. In data complexities, there are complex systems with many interacting factors and many processes that are happening at the same time that make it difficult to collect data, to analyze the data, and interpret the data. There's an issue to do with scale, and ecologists have to vary from a local scale to a global scale, and processes vary significantly. Researchers have to constantly deal with the issue of what to factor in and what to factor out when scaling up or down. There is interdisciplinary collaboration. There is need to work with geologists, climatology, and social sciences for better understanding of the human-impacted environments. There is also uncertainties and unpredictabilities. Complex nonlinear systems are unpredictable. It's a challenge developing accurate predictive models that account for complexity and uncertainty inherent in ecosystems like mass poisoning and volcanoes. There are emergent properties as well, like I mentioned. Complex ecosystems possess emergent properties that arise from interactions and feedback loops between different components, for example, global warming. Now that we have an idea what ecology is like, let's look at some terms that are used in ecology that are also used in data science. There is data. Data is just raw information that can be in various forms like numbers, text, images, or videos. Data cleaning. This is preparing data for analysis, handling errors, missing values by cleaning and transforming the data to ensure its quality and reliability. This includes tasks like handling missing values, removing duplicates, and standardizing formats. There is exploratory data analysis. This helps identify patterns, outliers, or relationships within the data and guides further investigation. Techniques like data visualization and summary statistics are commonly used in exploratory data analysis. All this falls under data wrangling, which is simply the process of transforming and converting data from one format to another with the goal of improving the data quality and making it easier to work with or interpret. There are many libraries used for data wrangling, including NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, Data Cleaner, Dora, Seaborn, Arrow, and many more. For today's interest, we'll just focus on these few: NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib library, and Seaborn. NumPy. NumPy is a fundamental library for data science ecosystem because many of the most popular Python libraries like Pandas and Matplotlib library are built on top of NumPy. It is best when working with multi-dimensional arrays, and this vectorization, indexing, and broadcasting concepts are the standard for array computing. Adding NumPy to your libraries is very easy. You just type in pip install NumPy, or when importing it in Jupyter Notebook, for example, you just type in import NumPy as np. For data handling, many researchers have different preferences on the workstations to use. Some prefer simple tools like Excel, SPSS, or some prefer the complex systems because of the large datasets that you're dealing with. For example, I prefer the Anaconda workstation because I can use the Jupyter Notebook, or I can use the RStudio for my deeper data analysis. The Anaconda workstation is available for most operating systems like Mac, Windows, and Linux. It is free to download at anaconda.com, and it comes pre-installed with Jupyter Notebook for Python and provides an easy click for RStudio installation. For data handling in Jupyter Notebook, just like Excel and SPSS where we use cut and paste, in Python we use the Pandas library. It is easy to install just like NumPy using pip install pandas, or to import using import pandas as PD. We mostly use the Pandas library to read Excel, CSV files, or text files into the Jupyter Notebook, and it also uses NumPy indexing systems that make it easier for working with data from a table format. The Pandas library makes it easier to view data with variables as columns and independent observation as rows. It is easier to see our files in a systematic format where variables like species, date, time, GPS, age, sex can all be listed as columns, and independent observation are seen as rows listed going down. Besides viewing data in a table format, the Pandas library is mainly used for reshaping data, subset observation, for summarizing data, handling missing values, creating or deleting data frames, for grouping data, and plotting basic graphs. To give you a basic hint on reshaping data, the Pandas library uses simple coding to reorder values like from low to high, or just to sort values in ascending order, for example, or in a descending order. It can also be used to rename some column titles in any data frame, or to sort indexes of a data frame, that is moving columns to rows or moving rows to columns, for example. And in summarizing data, the Pandas library has this power in giving summary statistics. These are useful to ecologists in giving them the spread of the data, and it's very useful for some general calculations that are used in ecology. For example, the sum, the count, the median, the quantile, and maximum, mean, and also the variance. This is useful to ecologists. For example, the Pandas library can give you standard deviation just by typing in a short code. The results are very useful. For example, if the mean rainfall is below 2 standard deviation, ecologists can conclude that the year is a drought. The Pandas library can also be used for plotting basic graphs like the scatter plots and the histogram, which can just be plotted using just two variables like the independent variable and the dependent variable, for example using frequency and age. For complex graphs, other libraries like Matplotlib and Seaborn are specifically used for plotting graphs that are very beautiful and easy to understand. Now let's put our code into use. Let's say we're a group of ecological researchers and we want to check if there are different population sizes of zebra that drink at different waterholes A, B, C, and D, which are in different fenced paddocks. We set aside a group of 4 teams to count zebra all day at the waterholes for 6 days, and these are the numbers that we got. You can also follow through on this little exercise on my GitHub page and navigate yourself into the zebra repository, I think. So from the table given, A, B, C, and D represents different waterholes, and the rows going down represents different days when the zebra were counted from morning to sunset. And these are the results that the ecologists, all of us are, recorded on that day. So the lead ecologist decides to run the analysis of variance, a test famously known as the ANOVA, the analysis of variance, to test if there are different population sizes of zebra that drink at the different waterholes. The analysis of variance test comes with some assumptions, and ecologists have to make some assumptions when running some tests to be able to make some conclusions. Here, the data is assumed to be normally distributed, and there is homogeneity of variance. That means the zebra in waterhole A, B, C, and D have equal environmental pressures. And we also assume that there is independence of whatever happens in a waterhole A does not affect what happens in waterhole B, C, and D. So the lead ecologist runs a few codes just to visualize the data in a simpler way rather than seeing it the way it is in the table. So after a few codes, like using the pandas library, you can see how the scatter plot shows the distribution of the data in A, B, C, and D. And already the ecologist gets a feel of the data, and you can see that there is a bit of higher population size in D and in B compared to C and A. So the ecologist notices the great differences of the zebra in A, B, C, and D and proceeds with the code for analysis. Now the ecologist chooses a library known as SciPy for statistics. After running the few lines of code, the above table was printed, and the ecologist noted that the p-value was minus 0.00007.03. After noting that the p-value is less than 0.005, the ecologist concluded that at 95% confidence interval, there was enough evidence to conclude that the zebra in waterholes of paddocks A, B, C, and D were of different population sizes. Conservation-wise, this can mean one can hunt more in D or B, or add more salt licks in B and D, depending on the sustainability and the ecologist's conclusions. There are different data collection methods that exist in ecology, and data collection is also a crucial component of ecological research because data collection amplifies the research questions that the researchers might have had prior to the research. And there are different data collection methods that exist. For example, there is remote sensing, there is telemetry, and there is citizen science. Remote sensing involves acquiring information about the Earth's surface using sensors mounted on satellites, aircraft, drones, or ground-based instruments like camera traps. It includes satellite imagery, aerial photography, and LiDAR, that is light detection and ranging data. This provides valuable information about land cover, vegetation health, topography, and other landscape characteristics. It enables monitoring and mapping of changes in ecosystems over time and is widely used in ecology, forestry, and land management. 2. There is telemetry. It involves the use of remote sensing devices to collect data from animals and their habitat. Telemetry allows researchers to study the movement, behavior, and physiological responses of animals in their natural environment. It includes devices like GPS, that is the Global Positioning System, collars, or implants that track the location and movement patterns of animals. Other devices measure parameters like temperature, heart rate, or hormone levels. Telemetry data helps understand animal migration, habitat usage, population dynamics, and responses to environmental changes. Lastly, in data collection methods, there is citizen science. This involves engaging the general public in scientific research and data collection. Individuals, often non-scientists, contribute to data collection efforts and support ecological research. Citizen science projects can take various forms, such as bird watching programs, or live surveys, or recording environmental observations. This approach allows for broad-scale data collection, increased spatial coverage, and involvement of local communities in conservation efforts. By employing these methodologies, researchers can collect data on various ecological systems, contributing to the knowledge of ecosystems, species distribution, habitat quality, and noting environmental changes. The integration of all this allows a more holistic understanding of ecological systems so that we can have support and evidence-based decision making for conservation and knowledge of our environment as a whole.
Sibanye Zim DevConf 2023, the moment we have all been waiting for, and finally it is here and it is happening. My name is Sibonile Mthunzi, and I am a software engineer. My interest: software architecture and design, artificial intelligence and machine learning, philosophy and poetry. These are the things that I'm most interested in this world. My skills: C#, web development, Django, Python, and data analysis. So the following is going to be my topic, software architecture and design. When I was deciding which topic I should present about, I thought this was the best, because sometimes I feel like we don't really pay attention to our software architecture, but it holds a very, very significant impact in the future, present and future. So anyways, diving in, imagine building a house without a blueprint. One could wonder, what kind of house would that be? I don't know. Do you know? I wonder if we'll find out. And how does having a clear plan for how software works impact the final product's quality and usefulness? It's very, very interesting to try and figure out, is it very useful? How does it impact the final product? So anyways, the following is my outline. We'll look at the introduction first, understanding software architecture and design, benefits, case studies, best practices, and key consideration, and then after that we'll conclude the presentation. All right, so the introduction. So welcome to the exploration. Welcome to the exploration of software architecture and design. Here we unveil how architecture streamlines development, while design excellency hinges on sustained efficiency in addressing customer needs. The goal in software architecture is to minimize the human resources required to build and maintain the required system. That's the goal, nothing else. That's the goal. And the measure of the design quality is simply the measure of the effort required to meet the needs of the customer. If that effort is low and stays low throughout the lifetime of the system, the design is good. If that effort grows, that with each release of the design, it means it's really bad. Sorry to break it to you guys, but that's the case. Let's move on forward and see what's up. So the crucial role of software architecture and design, before I elaborate on that, maybe I should explain the differences between software architecture and design. Software architecture, it's like planning the layout and structure of a house. It decides where the rooms, the doors, the windows go. It's about the big picture, you know, the decisions that shape how the whole system will work. Whereas software design, on the other hand, it's like decorating each room. You know, you're going to have the house, choose the colors, the furniture, arranging everything to make it functional and beautiful. Design focuses on the detail that makes the software user-friendly and efficient. So the roles of these, it creates a blueprint. You know, a blueprint is very important because it's connecting, organizing, simplifying software elements for effective development. And also it makes it work well. Software design, like puzzle assemble, ensures flexibility, reliability, and efficiency, allowing seamless adjustments and enhancements. It also helps plan for the future. Good architecture prepares software for changes and challenges. It helps the software grow without breaking, keeping it safe from problems, and helps the development team work together smoothly. Okay, and then after that, what are the benefits of an effective software architecture and design? The first is enhanced maintainability and scalability, followed by improved performance and efficiency, and then we have reduced development costs and time. I'll try to elaborate a bit on what I've just mentioned. When you find a software, when the more users you have, the more problems you probably start having problems. It becomes slower, it's not very responsive. It all comes down to the fact that probably the architecture of the software and the design is not very good. And the goal, like I said, is the performance doesn't change regardless of how many people are using your platform. It should not change. So that's why it's very, very important to get it right from the beginning. Okay, so let's move on to the next part, which is let's look at some of the key studies, real-world success stories. We have Google. Google's innovation stems from its microservices architecture, transforming development and deployment. Instead of building a monolithic applications, Google adopted microservices, breaking down functionalities into smaller manageable services. For example, we have Gmail, Maps, and Google Cloud Platform. Each service, if you notice very well, operates independently, allowing rapid updates and scaling, which is a very, very good thing, you know. And also, the other thing, we look at Uber, for example. I think some of you have used Uber. If you have traveled, you have probably used it one way or the other. Uber's triumph is powered by their real-time data processing architecture. When the user seeks the ride, the system analyzes the location, user availability, and the traffic to match them swiftly. This robust setup ensures seamless navigation, accurate fare calculations, and smooth payments. With millions of people relying on Uber globally, this architecture's scalability and efficiency are pivotal, showcasing how technology does sometimes, right, let's say always fuels modern global services, if I could put it that way. Okay, let's move to the next. And then we also do have the real world lessons from failures. It's a little bit sad to present about Nokia because I have always been a die-hard fan in the past, rather, not currently, but I was a die-hard fan. But unfortunately, Nokia's architecture is not so good. Architecture and design, it's not so good because of failure to adapt. That was the downfall of Nokia. It's outdated architecture that hindered innovation, and Nokia's reluctance to embrace emerging trends led to its decline as well. As smartphones began to gain popularity, if you noticed, Nokia clung to its traditional approach, overlooking the potential of touch screens and advances in operating systems. So this resistance prevented from staying competitive in a rapidly evolving market of software. And we also have MySpace, which I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but it used to be one of Facebook's competitors. MySpace, the problem was its downfall can be attributed to its lack of flexibility and inability to adapt to the changing user demands. Remember earlier I did mention that no matter the amount of people that are using your software or whatever application, it has to always adapt. A good software always adapts to the user demands. So because of that, MySpace lost against Facebook, and it became very, very unpopular. And we can say the story underscores the importance of staying flexible, continuously updating offerings and listening to your users in the rapidly changing landscape of technology and social media. All right, so next, the best practices and key considerations. So it's very, very important to plan for the future. Whenever you're building any product, it's very, very important to plan for the future. The importance of long-term goals in the architecture and design decision, flexibility to accommodate growth, modularity, and reusability. It's also very important because design patterns and modular components lead to maintainable code base. Design patterns like MVC, singleton, and factory create structured modular components. I will not really dive deep into it, but I'll just say MVP separates logic, improving maintainability. Singleton ensures one instance of a class, enhancing resource efficiency. Factory generates objects and boosting reusability. So the practices lead to adaptable, efficient, and easier to maintain code, reducing redundancy, promoting best practices in software. And the last part is collaboration and documentation. Clear communication among development teams. Documentation aids in maintaining the system and knowledge transfer. And lastly, the conclusion is programmers should focus on planning and designing the overall structure of the software before they start writing code. They should follow certain rules and guidelines to make sure the software architecture is well designed and efficient. This helps avoid problems later on and leads to better quality of software. And the second part is good software planning and design for making a project successful. Just like a solid foundation is key to building a strong house, A well thought out software structure is essential for creating a successful project. Thank you so much. Looking forward to getting some questions and hearing other presentations. Bye.
Okay, so let's talk about communities, from what it is that they are, how they function, and how you can benefit from them. I have been a member of a very diverse range of communities in tech, social entrepreneurship, and even climate activism. And from playing a role of both a member and a lead in all of them, and contributing to their successes and their failures, I think from these multiple roles, I think I now stand at a better position to share with you what I think we can do to make our communities produce more tangible results. And the secret that I have to share with you is just focus on the members. And here that means focusing on most of you, the members. Because most of you people actually think that communities are all about leaders, organization behind us, or what it is that we actually offer. But in actuality, it is all about you, the members. So first of all, how do I define a community? So for me, it is more like this. Communities are more like a tower of blocks in that game of Jenga. And yes, I'm talking about that game whereby, you have a tower of blocks and they are taking turns removing pieces from the base and placing them to the top and making the tower grow taller and taller. And I love this example for two reasons. First of all, communities should all be about those at the top of the hierarchy, uplifting those at the bottom or at the base of the hierarchy and raising them to higher levels. And now, after that happens, those that have been uplifted, have to uplift the leads and those at the top of the hierarchy that actually help them to be at the position where they are at. And now, as the Jenga, the structural stability of the entire thing rests on the base of the entire thing. And as with Jenga, if you mess with the bottom blocks or the base, the entire thing is going to crumble. But if you mess up with the top part, part of it might actually crumble, but the bottom can still remain intact and you can still rebuild from that. So from that, I think we can tell that if the hierarchy maybe fumbles or go through something and fails to deliver, as long as we have a strong base within our members, we can still rebuild and rebrand. The first thing that you need to build communities, and as in the game of Jenga, is you need patience, strategy, and focus. That is if you are going to keep the community growing and stable. One problem that I've encountered with my previous communities is that I've always been after quick results. And I still remember one time in 2021 when I was with Google Developer Student Clubs as the lead. Great things were actually supposed to happen, but guess what? They didn't. Attendance for my events was an all-time low, and it was so sad and embarrassing. And then we started playing the long haul, and we had this long-term strategy that included partnering up with other communities, leading and acting by examples, and even keeping on when we didn't get, immediate results. And I can say that we actually did okay. Because in 2 years at GDSC MSU, we managed to participate twice in the Portrait Hackathons, even getting a top 50 placement in one of them. We actually managed to get a winning solution at the inaugural MSU VC Challenge, and we even birthed the data science Zimbabwe community at our school. And we are still doing more and more. And the goal has been to create a community like the HIT community, the HIT community, that is both visible and produces results frequently. And we are not yet there, but I think we are still tagging along. So now let's get back to Jenga and communities. And as with Jenga, everything is to come full circle. Once the leaders actually help you out, you have to retain the favor. You see, the problem that we've been having is that most members only look out for their needs in themselves. And communities are all about all of us, giving a little bit of something. And the least that you can give is support. But trust me, as a pre-lead and a previous lead, planning for a community is exhausting. And planning for a community that doesn't support you or give back is actually disheartening. Both members should understand that communities are not there to, offer you some skills. We have Udemy, Pluralsight, and Coursera for all that. And another thing that people should know is that communities are not there to grow your career or, to further your networks just like that. But most people actually join a community for these reasons. And I've been part of them. I still remember I joined communities, to get the skills, expand my networks. And when I was trying that, it didn't actually work out. But when I started looking at what made the communities and how I could, contribute and what they were all about, I started finding, some hidden benefits like a very strong network of circles that is ambitious and hungry for success like I am. And I think 80-90% of the opportunities that I've had have actually came from within that circle, from that network. And it is not only that. I think I've received so much advice and mentorship from some people, and that has only been possible because, first of all, I didn't write the communities off when they didn't offer me what I was looking for. And when people started seeing how much I was committed and how much I wanted to contribute, they started reaching out to me with advice, mentorship, and opportunities. Then another thing that we should take note of is communities are not cliques. So many times I've been part of communities that were started by people doing different things or maybe with different backgrounds, from me. And as a lead and a member, I found it hard for people to actually listen to me because they consider me an outsider. And even when I had good ideas, or great plans, people still wouldn't recognize that until they started seeing the work that I was doing and, they saw the result that I was actually yielding. And I can say that we could have achieved more if those people had actually joined me, from the word go. But hey, I'm just glad that eventually we finally managed to actually work together and, achieve great things. So small divisions within our communities actually, stop us from achieving great things. And once we embrace everyone, encouraging diversity, and we can start moving forward at a faster pace. Because as communities, we should welcome diverse thinking and opposing views and make, sound decisions and have actually more tangible results. Then within communities, we should focus on embracing diversity, because communities are not there to shape your thinking, but your thinking is there to shape communities. In tech community, not everyone should be using a certain framework or a language. And yes, it might work for you, that is good, but don't let that that PHP guy actually feel out of place, because they actually have a tendency of trying to divert upcoming developers towards certain things, like shifting them from 9 to 5s and taking them to entrepreneurship or freelancing, but always telling that university doesn't matter, certifications don't mean a thing. In giving advice, we should keep the floor open for alternative to what it is that we stand for. A person should decide what they want, not basing on what the leads or the majority thinks. in the various Google developer communities that I've been part of, I've seen that there is a tendency of, focusing on certain technologies, especially Google technologies. But when I look at the most successful and active Google developer communities that are out there, they have more React workshops than Angular or, Flutter workshops. So from that, I can tell that they've been successful because they've managed to have, solutions in the Google Solution Challenge. Then in every talk that I've always given, I always try to sneak in a reply. So for this one is, in praising the butterfly, don't ever disrespect the caterpillar. One thing that stops our communities from reaching peak performance is the disconnect between the older and the upcoming generations. If I were to ask you this question, tech communities have been in Zimbabwe for the past maybe 10 or so years, right? But how many active leads from the period between 2017 and 2019 are still active in communities? I would bet that the number is very, very low. That is, if there are any, by the way. And this results in a disconnect, in discontinuity. And instead of expanding, we're always rebuilding and regrowing. And I know things happen and all, but the experiences and the wisdom should be passed on if we're going to make progress. With most communities, we still make the same mistake that we made 5 or more years ago. The last question that I have is this: what is more important when building and maintaining a community? Do you need the money or do you need the members? And as a community lead, I can always say that as of now, you need the money and lots of it. Because events, space rental, food, swags, those costs are not a joke, especially in Zimbabwe where almost everything is overpriced. But the reasons why we have to focus on those is because members are always treating them. If we have members that are in it for the love of their growth, for the love of the communities, we can actually host so many zero budget events. But as of now, that is almost impossible. The first question that people are going to ask you is, what will I benefit? Not what is it that I can do to actually, make this a success. Of course, there are people that have chipped in here and there, but not many enough people are actually stepping up. I do understand that there are always better things to do with your time. Time is of paramount importance. But think of what we can achieve if we all work together. But think of it. Most of the ideas that we have, the concept that we have, that's actually from Silicon Valley and Wall Street. But guess what? First Street is not Wall Street. And what applies to Wall Street doesn't always apply to First Street. So how do we get what actually applies to First Street? It is by engaging and networking with those who have actually tried, learning about how they succeeded or failed in doing so. And that way, we can increase community activities and the networking from those individuals can actually share ideas that can actually help us, build better on an individual basis or even on a community basis. So I do love the direction in which communities are growing and, appearing. And I believe that cooperation and the member-centric approach is the key to actually making these communities yield better results. And it starts by leaders creating an environment whereby members can openly share what they think, their opinions.
Hey everyone, My name is Clint Mukarakate. I'm a mobile web developer as well as the editor-in-chief of a tech site called The Zimbabwean Perspective. Now, today I'm going to be talking about a topic that's very close to me and very important to me, which is building tech careers. More specifically, the balance of chasing trends in tech versus building a sustainable career. Now, I'm not exactly the most experienced person out there. In fact, I'm kind of a recent graduate, graduated in 2022. But I've been working in tech for close to 5 years now, especially if we consider my university years. And whilst I don't have knowledge about everything, I've been seeing a few things that tend to come up, especially amongst young people, young developers, recent graduates like me, or people just trying to find a way in tech and build their career the right way. So, whilst this is not some sage wisdom coming from somebody who knows everything, I'd like to believe I have at least a few ideas that can help you guys differentiate from when you're just chasing a trend or when you're adding a very useful tool to building your tech career. Now, let's get started. Starting with, tech moves fast. I think we all tend to do this, right? It's such a fast-moving industry, and by the time that the rest of the world tends to know or care about something, we've probably been dealing with it for a few years. In fact, that's why they know about it. And that's a good thing. Technology as a whole and fundamentally has always been about improving on where we are as a human race. Whether it was when we were building stone tools or now where we write complex algorithms, it's always been about looking at a problem or looking at how we do things and looking at ways to improve that. And that's always been great. However, when you're someone who's trying to figure out where or how you want to work in tech, it can often end up being one of those cases where you end up chasing this trend or this technology or that technology versus another technology versus another technology, day by day, month by month, because all you're doing is trying to keep up, and yet it turns out that you're not really building the best career that you can have. So, one needs to know when to differentiate between that, and that's what we're here to talk about today. Now, I'm Zimbabwean. I'd like to believe a lot of you watching this are Zimbabwean as well. And if there's one thing I've learned, being Zimbo actually adds to the whole chasing trends thing. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, let's just look at the past few years, right? We've had everything from AI to the blockchain being around for a while now, to Web3, to NFTs, remember those? And so many more different technologies that have come up. And don't get me wrong, it's been great that they all exist. But one can often end up feeling like maybe they need to adopt them all or chase them all or try to figure them all out just so that they can feel like they're at the cutting edge of technology. And that might not always be as necessary as we think it is. For example, let's face it, everybody is probably trying to chase some way to get on the AI trend right now. AI has been around for a while. We've had machine learning, we've talked about different types of recursive algorithms and so on for ages now. But because of things like ChatGPT, there's been a big boom and everyone wants to invest in that, everyone wants a product that has that, everyone wants some way to just, cash in on that. And that's not a bad thing. But if you are the type of person who's now maybe completely abandoning projects or the tech stack that you had before just to try and cash in as well, that might not always work out for you, unfortunately. And don't get me wrong, there's no proven way to, or at least there's no one way to operate in tech. Let me not say there's no proven way. But the need to balance is definitely always paramount. So, going back to being in Zim. The reason I say this is because just look at how most Zimbabwean workers in tech are probably known colloquially. Most people probably still call us IT guys or IT people, right? And this can spread to other parts of Africa as well, not just Zim. And this is because this lack of understanding of what we are and what we do essentially actually ends up getting us to a point where everyone thinks we can do everything, and most of the time we tend to end up trying to do everything. You'll be someone who writes code, and let's face it, you go work in a company, somebody's gonna ask you about your printer at least once. Let's not lie, that's happened. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes. Zimbabweans have a natural Mgwava culture that's about us, and sometimes that's actually one of the best things. But unfortunately, if you're trying to build a strong portfolio, if you're trying to build a strong career, and trying to show people that you have expertise in a skill set, that might not always work out if you're always running around and going from different project to different project that are completely unrelated. So essentially, always trying to chase trends can have its dangers. Sometimes it essentially, as I've already said, keeps you distracted. You never build a strong portfolio on a proven skill set. If you're a Java guy, rather than your GitHub or your portfolio having 3 or 4 Java projects that employers can look at and be impressed, you're instead probably got one AI project, you've got one Java project, you've got another NFT project that you jumped into some time ago, and that's not a bad thing. But when we're trying to send a resume or a CV to people who want to hire you, they might not look at it as favorably as someone who, as I've said, has 2-3 Java projects to their name and can write down 3 years of steady experience working in Java, as compared to your maybe 3-month project and then the other 3-month project and so on. It's not exactly fair, but that tends to be how the world works from time to time, and we need to tend to know how to really react and deal with all of that. Another thing is, as we've already said, it can kill your momentum. Rather than having those 3 Java projects all coming one after the other, you went and did something else for a while. Not a bad thing, but when you're now maybe trying to just get back into Java, you might find you don't pick up as fast, especially if maybe you had some jobs on the line. The last part is, let's face it, some trends in tech actually tend to be more of a fad and aren't as successful as they turn out to be. Don't get me wrong, some work in the long run, but just look at something like NFTs. There was a time when everyone was telling you that's where things have to go, that's the future. And don't get me wrong, their hype definitely led to Web3 becoming more of a thing to some extent. But also, they may have not been the big change that everyone expected them to be. And if you probably invested a lot of your time and effort into NFTs, you might have found you're unfortunately not getting everything you put in coming back to you the way you wanted it to. So, now that we've talked about the pros and cons of chasing trends, mostly the cons, sorry, let's actually talk about building a tech career. Because, again, how does one do that? What's a proven way of doing that? Well, let's start this way. Tech tends to be a skill-based industry. We all tend to know this. You learn a skill, you tend to develop it, you put some time into showing people what you can do with that skill, and usually, hopefully, you get the right job or you get the right career path out of that. Now, again, as I said, no one way to doing this, but when there tends to be some traction, it tends to be easier. So, everyone has probably heard of you getting good at a skill, again, Java for example, and then you probably start an entry-level Java developer job, right? You learn more projects, you get better at it, and chances are you probably become a mid or senior level developer. But even if you're the type of person who, for example, like me, is both a mobile and web developer, chances are if I gain a much more senior position in a company as a mobile developer, maybe I can start actually working with the web team from time to time. Maybe I have more say and leeway in company decisions and choosing a tech stack or choosing how to implement something. And that's what tends to be better, rather than specifically always being sprinkled and, caught around everywhere trying to make everything work together all at once. Which brings us to the second part. I've got a skill, and how do I really completely even get to the entry level part of it? Well, for starters, let's go with this. Look at what you're doing, right? I started learning Java and C# in my earlier days of college. Yeah. And what I did was I tried to see what can I do with Java, what can I do with C#. Java eventually led to me being a mobile developer. Whilst C# I haven't had as many projects under my belt, it did lead me to the .NET framework, and that led me to a lot of ASP.NET web-based stuff. Second part, with the skills I have, do I want to take the paths that are available? For example, if I was learning Python and it didn't directly link me to mobile development, I might have had to change because I really wanted to do mobile. But if you want to do something different and Python is enough, cool. So it's about seeing where the skills you have take you, or if you have to learn another one to just combine it with that. Adding on to that, is this path meeting my needs? So after all, this is a career, right? You want to know if the money will make sense. You want to know if the types of companies you can work for make sense. Now, of course, languages, companies, that can change from time to time. Like, for example, there was probably a time when the likes of Microsoft wouldn't have hired an Objective-C developer, but well, now they definitely do because they need mobile apps made as well. And they don't only hire people who do Xamarin. So, this changes. But still, you probably want to see if, from a monetary and logistic and just simple, basic, logical standpoint, if the path you're taking will give you what you need out of your life. And the last one, try and find a mentor. It's always good to have someone who's maybe walked a similar path to you or was almost the same path, basically. Because if they're doing the same language, or maybe they went to the same school as you, they might tell you more directly, hey man, after you do this, try and apply here. After you do that, try and send a CV here. And that can, of course, always help in now you getting where you need to faster. Now, all of this being said and done, that doesn't mean be stagnant. That doesn't mean you only have to completely stick to one thing and only do one thing so that you get good at that one thing. But what I was just trying to do was lend some perspective in not always having to chase every cool thing that comes up. That doesn't mean that you totally can't get into an AI project right now, because it's cool, and to be honest, I would want to check it out too. But it just means always keep your career in mind. And that's always one of the things that matters most, because that's what we're all trying to do, really. And if you can have career goals set up from the start, they might change a little, but they can definitely help you in pushing a trajectory forward and not wasting your time. So, that being said, even when you want to adopt a new technology or learn a new skill, here's a few things that I feel you can also learn from. Number one, ask yourself, why do you need it, right? For example, you want to jump into AI right now, but maybe all you do is make a pretty simple calculator app that somehow is very popular. Hey, just being hypothetical here. Would AI really help with the calculator? I mean, would it be able to detect that I'm probably always gonna try and calculate the rate every few months or so? Maybe. If it can do that, then cool. But if not, maybe just do it as a side project, not really needing to pump all your energy into it. Number two, does it bring any useful growth to my career path or the product I'm developing right now or the project I'm on? Again, if not, maybe cool it. But if so, great. You might not need to rush it into the current build of what you're putting together, but you can definitely make it a future avenue and a future build. And that's always cool. How much does it cost me? Not just in terms of actual money, because a lot of this can cost money, But of course, time and investment, because that's even more important. Again, always be aware of your time. And of course, as I've already said, can I not just do it as a fun side project for now? That's where all the best ideas tend to actually come from. So being able to do it as a fun side project is probably going to be one of the best things you can do for yourself. And if you can do that, then you're on the right path. Hopefully this has been helpful, and you guys can reach out to me if you feel I was saying anything that makes sense here. You can also reach out if you feel I was saying stuff that doesn't make sense, because hey, maybe you have a different perspective from mine. But yeah, otherwise it's been an honor getting to present in front of all of you, and I hope you guys have a good one. Have fun with the rest of the DevFest.
Imagine a mother of three living in a rural village in Zimbabwe. You have to walk for hours to reach the nearest health facility, which are understaffed, where long queues are very common and with inadequate supplies. You worry about your children getting sick from malaria, diarrhea, or pneumonia, which are common causes of death for young children in your country. You also worry about yourself because you know many women die during childbirth due to complications that could be prevented with proper maternal care. You wonder why the health system in your country is so weak and sometimes unreliable, and what can be done to improve it. This is not a fictional story, but a reality for many people in sub-Saharan Africa, where the health system faces a plethora of challenges. According to a report by McKinsey published in 2020, Africa faces a twin health crisis that has been exacerbated in recent years due to COVID-19 pandemic. A high existing disease burden and fragile health system. The continent bears nearly twice the disease burden per capita that is measured by disability-adjusted life years compared to the rest of the world. At the same time, the health system is overstretched. It's a heartbreaking reality. The same report estimates that Africa needs an additional 25 to 30 billion per year to meet health-related sustainable development goals by 2030. However, there is a glimmer of hope and opportunity for change. The report does suggest that Africa can strengthen its health system by focusing on 4 key areas. That is, improving governance and accountability, increasing financing and efficiency, enhancing the health workforce, and scaling up digital and data solutions. And today's presentation will focus on the latter. I'm Andile Mbele, your friendly neighborhood productivity hacker and resident geek. I'm an engineer and technologist on a mission to solve problems, write code, and geek out about data all day long. Consider me your go-to software whisperer and an all-day engineer. I spend the day hacking away solutions and leading my team at QStack. I spend my nights doing data engineering for an intelligence company based off in the USA. This is where I sift through vast troves of data and draw patterns on user data. In between, I'm a teaching assistant and learns new code. Now, let's dive into the exciting world of data science and AI, shall we? Today we're diving into the fascinating world where data science and AI meet healthcare. Join me as we dissect and traverse how these cutting-edge technologies are reshaping public health interventions and revolutionizing telemedicine. From predicting outbreaks to personalized care, we'll uncover the power of data-driven decisions and AI's role in bringing quality healthcare for all in Africa. You may be wondering why this particular subject matters. It is my sincere belief that data science and AI hold a greater solution to a more equitable and accessible healthcare future. As we unravel the wonders of data science and AI, we will also uncover a realm where virtual interactions bring healthcare to remote areas, where paperless data creates seamless health records, and where individuals take charge of their well-being. Harnessed effectively, the power of technology bridges gaps, thus reaching those often left behind. the underserved members of the community, that is women, refugees, lower income households, persons with disabilities, and the elderly. According to the tech industry, primarily to solve some of the society's pressing issues, and healthcare stands atop of those issues. We need to reach an accord. So to successfully do this, I will have to explain the importance of data in healthcare, and you listen. In healthcare, data isn't just information or an impressive way to present information in the form of trends or insights. It is my sincere belief that data is the cornerstone of effective decision making. It encompasses patient records, disease statistics, treatment outcomes, medical trials, and so much more. Data empowers health professionals to understand population trends, identify risk factors, and design targeted interventions. Utilized properly and efficiently, by analyzing data, healthcare stakeholders can then anticipate health challenges, allocate resources efficiently, and track down progress toward public health goals. Now that I've explained the importance of data in healthcare, the next question one might have is, how then do we unleash this potential of data science in healthcare? Data science takes raw data and transforms it into beautiful and meaningful insights. It is a process that involves techniques such as statistical analysis, machine learning, and data visualization. So through data science, we can glean on hidden patterns and relationships within healthcare data that might not be too apparent through traditional means. These insights enable evidence-based decision-making, allowing public health officials to craft more interventions and more effective interventions and policies. Upon unleashing the potential of data science, we unlock the fun part, which I believe most of us have heard of. This part is predictive analytics and patterns. Through predictive analytics, we can leverage historical data to focus future trends. In the case of public health, it can be used to anticipate disease outbreaks, resource needs, and potential health risks and likely solutions before they even occur. By identifying patterns in data, predictive analytics helps in early detection of health trends, enabling timely interventions and preventive measures. For example, it can help public health agencies allocate vaccines before a flu season hits, or anticipate spikes in certain diseases during specific seasons of the year. This is by no means a story of science fiction. The impact of data-driven public health interventions is both tangible and far-reaching. Consider a scenario where data from various sources is analyzed to track the spread of a disease outbreak. Public health officials can use this data to identify geographic hotspots, allocate medical supplies, and target interventions to curb the spread. We saw this not so long ago. Data-driven approaches played a crucial role in managing the COVID-19 pandemic, informing lockdowns, contact tracing, and strategies on vaccination distribution. We also continue seeing this in some parts of Africa and the world at large. To the south of where I'm presenting from, in South Africa, there is MomConnect, the National Department of Health's initiative that uses cellular-based technology to support maternal health and is available in all the 11 official languages. In the east of Africa, we have read and seen the delivery of medical supplies such as blood, vaccines, and medicine to remote and often hard-to-reach destinations. These are just some of the ingenious technology-based solutions that are being crafted towards solving Africa's health peril. We sure can do more. In the case of telemedicine is reshaping healthcare by leveraging technology to provide medical services remotely. It breaks down geographical barriers, making healthcare accessible even in the most remote or underserved communities. This revolution is crucial for improving healthcare equity, especially in the regions where physical access to medical facilities is limited, and that's true for the most part of Africa. AI enhances telemedicine by adding intelligence to virtual interactions. AI-powered systems can analyze patient data, including symptoms and medical history, to aid in diagnosis. Machine learning algorithms, on the other hand, learn from vast datasets, allowing them to recognize patterns, recommend treatment options, and even predict health outcomes. AI can also assist in triage, helping healthcare providers prioritize patients based on the severity of their condition. My final year college project was titled Enhancing the Role of Technology in the Pharmaceutical Industry to Improve Service Delivery, and I did not stop after getting a distinction. I went on to be a founder of a startup, QStep, with the core goal of building digital solutions to society's pressing problems. The first product we built is a conversational AI chatbot named Zanele that utilizes the power of machine learning and natural language processing. At the onset, the goal was to provide users with an easy-to-use chatbot that they could use to describe their medical conditions, and using the chatbot's training data, be able to figure out with utmost accuracy what our users were feeling or suffering from. We did not stop there. We sought to integrate our API with pharmacies around the country so people can conveniently access OTC medication and prescription drugs, and have all this done from the comfort of their homes. It is not a secret. AI-powered telemedicine platforms are already making waves globally. We have platforms today that utilize computer vision to interpret medical images, providing a rapid and accurate diagnosis. This is a trend lately, especially around different forms of cancer diagnosis. We have witnessed chatbots and virtual assistants powered by AI handling initial patient interactions, asking questions about symptoms and medical history before passing this information to a human doctor for further evaluation. This is an avenue which is also pursued by QStep. But then, of course, we cannot discuss data science and AI without having someone bring in the hard questions, challenges, ethics, and most importantly, opportunities. At present, implementing data-driven public health interventions and AI-powered telemedicine solutions presents several challenges. Ensuring the accuracy and reliability of data is paramount. Incomplete or inaccurate data can lead to flawed insights. In resource-constrained settings, technological infrastructure limitations may hinder the adoption of advanced technologies. Africa fits this category perfectly. Most often, we operate with our hands tied to our backs. And in the case of building these systems to ensure their efficient and effective use, there is a need for skilled personnel who can effectively analyze this data and interpret the AI-driven insights. The ethical implications of these technologies are also critical. Preserving patient privacy and data security is crucial when collecting, storing, and sharing healthcare information. Ideally, to ensure our systems work seamlessly, we need data sharing between our healthcare providers, our clinics, hospitals, and medical insurance companies. And that has to be done with the utmost ethical considerations in mind. Bias in AI algorithms is also another significant concern, as it can lead to unequal treatment and outcomes. We do need to ensure that algorithms are fair and free from bias. This can be achieved through careful design and continuous monitoring. Data and digital solutions have proven to be a true game changer in several fields where they have been tried and tested. However, where people's livelihoods are concerned, balancing the role of AI with human oversight is important. While AI can aid in diagnostics and decision-making, maintaining the human touch is essential for patient trust and safety. Digesting all that we have learned today, we may ask ourselves, what are some unique opportunities that exist for Africa? Africa does present unique opportunities for harnessing data science and AI in healthcare. These technologies can address gaps in healthcare access, especially in remote areas where traditional healthcare infrastructure is lacking, almost non-existent. Customizing AI algorithms and data-driven interventions to suit local and socio-economic contexts can lead to more effective outcomes. Additionally, the vast amount of health data generated in Africa has the potential to contribute to the global insights and research and ultimately weed out the issues of bias that were pointed out earlier. For the most part, the demanding work has been done for us. Success stories from developed countries offer valuable lessons for African healthcare. For instance, data-driven public health interventions in countries with advanced healthcare systems have shown how predictive analytics can improve disease outbreak response. Countries such as Singapore are using predictive analytics in various ways, such as developing a national electronic health record system that integrates data from multiple sources and enables data sharing and analysis across healthcare providers. They have a risk stratification tool that identifies patients who are at risk of hospitalization or readmission and provides them with the targeted interventions and care coordination. Learning from these successes can help African healthcare systems design effective strategies and tailor them to their unique context. Adapting best practices and strategies from around the world can accelerate progress in healthcare innovation. While global successes provide inspiration, adaptation is key. African healthcare systems must consider factors such as cultural norms, healthcare infrastructure, and socio-economic conditions. Successful AI-powered telemedicine platforms from other regions can serve as blueprints, but customization is essential to ensure these solutions align with the needs and expectations of African populations. As I come to the end of my talk, I feel I cannot emphasize enough the beauty and power of data combined with AI in solving some of our problems in the healthcare industry. Data science and AI are the transformative equalizer that stands a relatively good chance at bringing about seamlessly designed solutions that will help ensure the mother of three has her children safe and is herself healthy and safe to deliver her fourth child. AI and data science aren't options today. They're a necessity for creating a healthier and more equitable future for all. After a full year of building QStep with my friend, what we have learned and gotten to understand is that we are both builders, but the problems we are trying to solve demand a diverse array of expertise. We need to form collaborations between healthcare professionals, data scientists, policymakers, and tech experts is essential to drive innovation and successful implementation. By working together instead of individually in our rooms and garages, whichever you have, we can leverage each other's expertise to overcome challenges, navigate ethical concerns, and accelerate progress in healthcare technology. In this remarkable journey through the intersection of data science, AI, and healthcare, we have unraveled a tapestry of possibilities. We have witnessed how data-driven public health interventions can forecast and forestall outbreaks, ensuring timely response that serve lives. We have marveled at AI's role in telemedicine, where algorithms amplify human care, providing diagnosis and treatment options at the click of a button. But beyond the tech, we have encountered challenges and ethical considerations. We have explored the necessity of adapting global successes to the unique African landscape, ensuring that innovation respects cultural context and bridges gaps. As we stand at this crossroads of opportunity, the call to action resounds clear. Let's embrace the future with open arms, forging collaborations that combine the expertise of healthcare professionals, data wizards, and policymakers. By investing in education and encouraging a culture of innovation, we can pave the way for a brighter healthcare landscape in Africa. Remember, this journey isn't solely about technology. It's about empowering humanity. It's about transforming healthcare access, making it a birthright for all, irrespective of geography or background. Let's be the architects of change, designing a future where data and AI amplify compassion, enhance care, and truly make a difference in the lives of many. Thank you.